Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to the Mesa City Council study session for the afternoon of June the 3rd. All of our council is present today. The first item on our agenda for this meeting is to review the items on the agendas for the meetings we'll be having an hour or so from now upstairs. That's a regular council meeting, but also a special council meeting. So council, if you could please refer to those agendas. I believe we went over this on Thursday, and currently there is nothing off of the consent agenda for our regular council meeting. Since Thursday, any questions, any presentations you'd like, or anything to come off of the consent agenda? If not, as we also discussed on Thursday, following the regular council meeting, we will be having a special council meeting. The agenda items for that are the mandatory public hearing on the budget and the secondary property tax levy, and then an action item for a resolution approving the budget. Any questions you want to discuss before during this meeting regarding that meeting? Mr. Brady, I know that there was, I think there was still some consideration on being done at in your office regarding the issue of raises for city employees. I know we kind of set the stage. We did have obviously a good financial year, and I'm wondering, have you reached a recommendation for maybe the step pay for those who haven't maxed out on their pay this year?
Thank you, Mayor. As in the proposed budget, Mayor and Council, we had proposed the 3% step pay for performance. Employees right now today during the last couple of weeks have been completing those reviews with their supervisors. They're all due here in the next couple of weeks, so they're going through the evaluation process right now with their supervisors. The way it works is we had that they could receive up to, in the proposed budget, up to no more than 3% if they were eligible for that increase. As the mayor said, and I think the questions come from a couple of council members, with this being a very good year, at least financially for the city as far as sales tax collections and other permits, we've looked at the impact of what it would take to increase that to 4% in the budget, and we believe that certainly with a very good March sales tax receipts, that we're comfortable with recommending that we could have in the adopted budget and available for employees that are eligible up to a 4% pay performance increase.
So that can be done within the parameters of the budget that's been proposed?
That is up for council to adopt this evening. That's correct.
Great. Thank you. Council, any questions for Mr. Brady on this point or on either of those agendas for the regular council meeting or the special council meeting? Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else, the next agenda item for this meeting is to acknowledge receipt of board minutes. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Mr. Luna. Thank you. Somebody want to second that?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Thompson was sleeping or me.
I was waiting for somebody to say that. All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is to hear reports on meetings and conferences attended. Council, anything you'd like to share with us? Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, this past Saturday, you and I were honored to partake in the retirement of the American flag ceremony. So there was a number of veterans there. There was a number of American flags there that were ready for retirement, and we had a really good ceremony. I thought it was really touching. So thank you for being there, Mayor, and thank you to Gary Terms and Mariposa Gardens for putting that together and hosting that event.
Yes, amen to what you just said. I think hopefully we'll see that become more of a tradition. That's a great facility, great ceremony to be a part of. Mr. Freeman.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This past week I attended an NLC meeting in Philadelphia, and it was the large cities meeting. So there were 15 cities represented throughout the United States. And this was more about, and I made some notes so I wouldn't forget everything, but it was more of a discussion about affordable housing and adding market rate housing to the mixes. And And what I came away from that, I'm glad our problems are far less than other cities in the United States. But we need to be mindful how we choose to implement future housing within our community, and we need to plan ahead for it so that it will allow other councils in the future to govern it appropriately. And just a suggestion, there was a lot of information that was shared that I felt like either our deputy manager or her designee or a council assistant could benefit with our department on how to proceed in the future. And I'd ask you, in the future, if it's appropriate for them to attend, if there's specific topics that can help govern our city. And I learned a lot from that. There's a lot of passion out there with those agenda items. But then I also just attended a Visit Mesa several months ago. I was invited to go to a conference with them over at Anaheim. Actually just got back to see how tourism is booked in our community. And I was really impressed with Mr. Garcia and his staff, because they're basically all over it. They do a really good job, and they visit with representatives from Expedia, China, German representatives, and basically how they book our tourism for our community and all the work that goes in there and the respective clients that they have. So it was very informative. So if anybody has a chance to go, it's a great opportunity to learn how the whole system works at large and how it benefits our city. So those just two things I've been to, so thank you.
Thank you for representing us at both of those events. Mr. Luna.
Mayor, I was wondering if I could invite Chief Camelli. Something happened this weekend at Falcon Field Airport, and I think that we need to really commend our dispatchers. There was an airplane that was attempting to land at the airport and didn't have any communication, but via a cell phone with our dispatchers through the wife of the pilot, they were able to land the airplane safely at Falcon Field Airport. So the dispatchers played a significant role in ensuring that the life of that pilot was saved and was able to land safely. So maybe she could talk a little bit about that.
Great.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Luna, members of the council. Thank you. Our dispatchers did an amazing job on this incident at Falcon Field. We had what was called an Alert 2. That means a plane that's having trouble, and they couldn't, their landing gear, they're having problems with their landing gear. And the pilot lost contact with the tower. And in doing so, he was able to contact his wife on her cell phone and was communicating with his wife. The wife calls 911 from her landline. And so we had a dispatcher talking to the tower. We had a dispatcher running the incident, and dispatcher talking to the wife and communicating his information back from our dispatch to the tower. So we had 3 dispatchers working this incident in order to let the pilot know if his landing gear was down or not. Our crews on the field were watching his landing gear as he was flying around, was able to advise him that his landing gear was completely down from what they can see. Through this communication with 3 dispatchers working the call, our crews on the ground and the tower, we were able to communicate and have a safe landing, which could have been a tragic incident had this communication not have happened with 3 dispatchers working the incident together. So it was a very critical call, and all working together really worked to make a happy outcome.
So we certainly need to commend our
absolutely.
Our
thank you for recognizing.
Wonderful job, and wanted to make sure that we acknowledged all their hard work and saving that life of the individual. So thank you.
Thank you for recognizing them. Our dispatchers do a great job, and I appreciate their recognition on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Great story. Council, other reports on meetings or conferences attended?
I'll mention on Saturday we had the Mesa Library Summer Reading Kickoff, and I believe you were at the Red Mountain, and the mayor and I were at the main library.
I was
and
at
you were
Dobson Ranch, yeah.
in the
Or
Dobson
Dobson
Ranch Library. So it's kicking off the program that we all commit to reading, even as adults. And I know I committed to reading 20 minutes a day, non-council, but for my personal enjoyment. But it was a great event, well attended, crafts, and emphasize the importance and the joy of reading. And there's programs from every age, from the little guys all the way up to adults throughout the summer on the library calendars, and vast subjects there. So it will be a fun summer for all. Also attended a Mesa Association of Governments meeting on last Thursday. I'm on the Human Services and Community Initiatives Committee, and we talked about how we could work collectively with the other cities, especially in the Valley, on homelessness, I brought up what we're doing in the Navigator and the community court, the opioid epidemic, which is related to homelessness and a tragedy in itself, and also heat relief networks, places to find hydration and cool spots and the things we can do to prepare for the summer. So.
Thank you. That library event was, I think, important for us. There's a lot of families in Mesa that need to be reminded of the summer slide. And the summer slide sounds like a really fun thing, right? That we all get wet and go jump on a slide or something. But no, a summer slide is that the impact that your kids have when they are out of school for a couple of months, and then they show back up at school, and the deficit that has occurred over the course of the summer if you don't encourage them to continue to be reading and engaging in things that are going to keep them sharp and ready to show back up for school. So the Mesa Public Library has a great cure for the summer slide, which is the summer reading program. A lot of really fun incentives. And so if you have school-age children at home, please take advantage of the libraries this summer so you can avoid the summer slide. Other announcements you'd like to share with us? Last Thursday, I was saddened to comment on the passing of our friend Mike Whalen. And unfortunately, since last Thursday, we've had another tremendous loss in our community. John Whiteman passed away. Mr. Whiteman is extremely well known in our community, one of the most philanthropic individuals I've ever met. Significant achievements in our community as a result of Mr. Whiteman's generosity when it comes to early childhood education and human trafficking and many other great causes. So we need to note with sadness the passing of our good friend and a gentleman who's responsible for so much good in our community, Mr. Whiteman, and extend our condolences to his great family. And the only positive I see here is that he did a great job of instilling that love of helping people and of being generous in his children and grandchildren. So that tradition is certainly alive and well in the Whiteman family. So our condolences to the family. Anything else you'd like to share with this council? The next item on our agenda is scheduling of future meetings and general information. Mr. Brady, what did we look at?
Well, good news. The study session for this Thursday, June 6th, has been canceled. And then the next council meeting will be the study session on Thursday, June 13th at 7:30 a.m. And we also want to mention, since we won't be here Thursday, the Pachanga in La Piscina is this Friday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Carson Aquatic Complex. It's a free bilingual water safety event for the whole family. So invite everyone out. Carson Aquatics, the pool, this Friday, June 7th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Thank you, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Luna. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.